What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary here with you today to discuss the former head coach that the New York Jets should actually consider hiring, not named Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan wants to coach the Jets. We're going to get through all this. Today's video is brought to you by the official sportsbook of Matt O'Leary NY, BetUS. Get a 150% match deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Looking at this game the Jets have coming up this week against the Houston Texans, the Jets are 1-point favorites. How? They are 2-6. The Texans are 6-2. Jets currently favorited at home against a team that is significantly better than them. I don't know how you could possibly put any money on the New York Jets with how they've been playing. If you want to sign up for BetUS, do so with using our code YouTube150 and get in on the fun. All right, Rex Ryan has made it clear that he wants to coach the New York Jets in 2025. Here is his response when asked if he would be interested in the job.
If you got that call, would you answer it? Would you consider being the head coach of this team?
Oh, I'd do it in a second. I'd do it in a second because I am a New York Jet, and I absolutely would. But I'm not here to politic and it seems like it because I tell the damn truth. And I speak as a fan of this football team in this community. That's why it makes sense. So yeah, we'll see. I hope I get an opportunity to interview for it. That's absolutely a given. I hope I get that opportunity.
I mean this genuinely, really genuinely. I appreciate the passion that Rex Ryan has for the New York Jets and the pride that he takes in being associated with the New York Jets. I really do. It's rare. It's not something that we see all that often. Rex Ryan gave me my two favorite years as a Jets fan in 2009 and 2010. Unfortunately, things started to go pretty poorly towards the end. In his final 6 years as head coach, including the couple years that he was with the Buffalo Bills, he did not finish one season with a winning record. His defenses were actually fairly mediocre from 2012 onward. The final, again, like 6 years that he was in the league as a head football coach. The league began to change from the early 2000s when he was first coming onto the scene and in the mid 2010s. And I'm not convinced that Rex's scheme would work as well now in 2024 as it did in 2009. Big difference over the last 15 years in the NFL. Another thing too, all of Rex Ryan's success came on the heels of a roster that was put together before he came here. More on that in a second. Put a pin in that one, but keep that in the back of your head. But when he got his hands on this roster, that's when things really started to begin to go poorly for the New York Jets, is when the influence of Mike Tannenbaum was coming from Rex Ryan and not the previous head coach. That's when the issues started to pop up with the roster. Now, as I mentioned, I love Rex for what he did those first few years he was here. He was great for the culture. Players love him. All that is true. But it feels like that would be going backwards and would be another circus-like act for the New York Jets to bring in a, brash, loudmouth head coach who's been out of the league for a decade. That I don't think is the recipe for success, as much as I do love Rex for what he did for me and my fandom and for my favorite football team. There are two guys who actually coach the New York Jets who I think would be better hires, not necessarily as a head football coach, but better hires for potentially the front office or an advisor role. First is Pete Carroll, who was here with the New York Jets for one season in 1994, went 6-10, but then would go on to have a lot of success in the NFL, most of that coming with the Seattle Seahawks. He's moved to an advisor role with the Seahawks after he they parted ways with him. I don't know how you want to word what happened with Pete Carroll, but he's moved into an advisory role. And I think at this point in his career, he's over 70, but he's still like a very athletic, with it, involved, likable guy, well respected around the league. Players love him. And he's had, again, a lot of success in his career. He's coached 18 seasons as a head coach. He won a Super Bowl, 586 win percentage in his career, playoffs in 12 of 18 seasons. Again, well respected around the league. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it takes to build established culture in a place where the team is always good and relevant. Yes, after the Legion of Boom era, they took a little bit of a step back, but the Seahawks were always in the mix and relevant, kind of like what the Pittsburgh Steelers are now. While, yeah, they're not, going on these runs to the Super Bowl like it's 2008 or 2010, but they are well coached and they are a good football team and they are hard to play against every single year, and they're doing things the right way. So I would be in on Pete Carroll for some sort of GM, head of football operations, like one of those kind of roles. And the other guy who I was hinting at here, now Eric Mangini is his name, but he would never come here because of how things ended with Woody Johnson after 2008. But Eric Mangini in a front office role is one that makes a lot of sense. This guy knows personnel. He wasn't the guy as a head coach. That became obvious. But look at the talent that he was able to help find just by looking at the 06, 07, and 2008 Jets drafts. That is the best era of New York Jets drafts, and that was the foundation of those 2009 and 2010 teams that went to the AFC Championship game. DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, Nick Mangold in year one, some depth pieces like Leon Washington, Brad Smith, guys like that later on in the draft. 2007, Darrelle Revis, who is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, David Harris, who is a Ring of Honor Jet, and some more depth beyond that. And then 2008, yeah, it didn't work with Vernon Golston, but found some other key pieces like Dwight Lowry later on. You also had the tight end as well. Why am I blanking on his name? I'm picturing him, but I can't think of the name. Dustin Keller. Don't know why it was hard for me to come up with Dustin Keller's name on a Tuesday in 2024, but that's what it is apparently. The brain's going. Gotta love it. But no, seriously, the front office, in a front office position, would make a little bit more sense for Mangini than as a head coach. I think he rubbed players the wrong way a little bit, but there's no denying that guy knows how to get a football team and put a football team together. He knows talent. And he did that when he was here with the Jets. And the most successful 2 Jet seasons that I've seen in my 30 years on this planet were in 2009 and 2010. And that was based off of guys that he was a part of drafting those 3 years prior in 2006, 7, and 8. So I know that he would never come here because of what happened with Woody Johnson. Pete Carroll's a name that I would much rather the Jets go down that route as. And someone like Rex Ryan, who, again, great coach in 2009 and 2010, not so much the last 6 years of his tenure that ended a decade ago. And he's been out of the league ever since. Again, thank you, Rex, for 2009, 2010. I need something more than he cares and was good 15 years ago. I need something more than that. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.